This morning, we're going to be looking at the Lagos State Budget of Sustainability, Impact Strategies and Expected Outcomes. On the 9th of January 2025, Mr. Governor signed the Budget of Sustainability into law. And while he was doing that, he charged Lagosians to be of good conduct as well. And he also pledged to do his own part in collaborating with the State House of Assembly in bringing fulfillment to that particular budget. Let's hear him.
Having considered the passage of the appropriation bill and having acceded to it, which formed the last step of the budget process, which in our view kickstart the most important phase, which is the implementation for the next 12 months, it is with a deep sense of responsibility that we have signed this budget into law. This will be the second of our will-be 4-year budget that will be acceded to during my second tenure, and it represents another opportunity for us to advance our vision of a greater Lagos for the benefit of Nigeria and especially Lagosians in all.
All right, so the total size of the 2025 budget of sustainability is 3.36 trillion naira, and it is the first that is being carried out. I can tell you it's an audacious move by a subnational to carry a budget of that particular size. But this morning, we're going to be breaking it down to look at that impact and how Lagosians can really benefit from this budget. And joining me in the studios this morning, I have the Honourable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Honourable Mosopefolu George, and he's here to break it down for us. Commissioner, nice to have you in the building. Good morning.
Good morning, Victor. Nice to see you.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
All right, so we'll come to the budget, of course, the one for 2025. But let's just take a little bit to reflect on what went down last year. How did Lagos perform with its budget in 2024?
Okay, thank you, Victor. So in 2024, we performed reasonably well. In terms of our revenue expectations, we managed to surpass our revenue expectations by 100%. So we did very well. In terms of our overall budget performance, was well over 85%. So I think for us, in Lagos, last year, 2024 was a good benchmark. And that set the tone for us to be able to sort of look to implement our 2025 budget at the 3.367 trillion naira mark, which was set at.
Right. So I'm looking at the figures now. So last year, and from what you just said right now, performance 85%. Is that the reason you are taking this audacious move? I mean, last year was 2.4 trillion. This year is 3.36.
Yes, correct. So in everything we do, we look at our sustainability level. So in increasing our budget, we're not just increasing it based on the fact that we feel we're increasing it to be able to sort of continuously meet our infrastructural needs, social protection needs, and also all the other areas we look into: health, education, agriculture, and environment. So the budget has increased, but we're very, very optimistic that we should be able to fund the budget from various IGRs and also from the deficit financing, which we've looked at, which we've reduced from last year to this year.
And I'm curious, because if we did 85% last year, and looking at the economic profile of Lagos with the indicators that you have provided this morning, Honourable Commissioner, the state is very healthy, so to say. So are we immune from what's going on across the country?
No, we are healthy. I wouldn't say we're immune. We're healthy, but again, it's all down to our fiscal discipline and the way we plan things. So in terms of our sustainability ratios, the World Bank standards are 30% at any point in time. Lagos is usually 20 or sub 20%. So in terms of our debt sustainability ratios, we're good. And then I think also we must commend our LIRS and revenue generation family, and indeed all the MDAs within Lagos State, because they have, at least for 2024, they did push the bar, and for the first time we were able to sort of hit the 1 trillion naira mark in terms of revenue generation. So I think they've done very well, and I think with the input of technology and other methods we can use to sort of increase our revenue generation, we're well poised for 2025.
And is that the reason why the budget is tagged the budget of sustainability?
It's tagged sustainability because as a government we like to ensure that we complete and finish projects. So a lot of the projects in the 2025 budget are to be completed from 2024 and previous years. So you see things like the Massey Street Hospital, Children's Hospital, which is coming up. This last year we did very well. I mean, close to 25,000 Lagosians now ride on the blue line daily. The red line's coming up. We have over 5 million Lagosians who carry cowrie cards. So we're doing well. We've provided a lot of schools, a lot of classrooms for our citizens. So I think it's just in being able to sort of continuously move the bar and also continuously move on our infrastructural development.
Right. So let's now look into 2025. We've called it the budget of sustainability, and I'm just looking at these figures now. 3.36 trillion is certainly not a child's play, and I'm just curious, Honourable Commissioner, how is Lagos going to be able to meet up with these numbers? Let's put it that way.
Okay, so we'll have various methods in which we would be able to sort of fund our budget. I mean, IGR is one. We have financing, which is another, and we also, financing comes in terms of loans, bonds, and But as I said, with that particular line, we're very, very careful and very, very. We would like to say that we consistently look at our sustainability ratios and ensure that we don't we're never over what we can take on.
Right.
But I think also in terms of our IGR, that's something that we're very, very very keen to ensure that we continuously move that up in the right trajectory to be able to continuously fund our projects. Infrastructure is a key part of the 2025 budget.
I'm just coming to that now, Honourable Commissioner, because I know there are 5 pillars upon which this budget rests.
Yes.
Let's look at them. What are those pillars?
Okay, so we have our infrastructural development. We have economic diversification, social inclusion and human capital, environmental sustainability, and also governance and institutional reforms.
Okay.
So with our infrastructural development, that has taken close to over 30% of the total budget size, about 31.27 to be exact.
Okay.
And that focuses on areas of continuous maintenance, upgrading of our road networks, and also construction of various bus terminals. I spoke earlier about the transport infrastructure, the trains. We're looking at being able to sort of open up some more lines. So currently there's discussions are going on for the line from Marina to Lekki Ekpe, Lekki Free Trade Zone.
Right.
And that area as well, as we all know, is one of the fastest growing corridors in West
line.
Africa. That's the Green Line.
Look, the Green Line, okay.
The Green Line. So it's one of the fastest growing corridors in West Africa. You have the Free Trade Zone there, you have the refinery there, you have the deep sea port, and you have the airport, which is coming in that area as well. So being able to sort of move people from Marina to that side of town would be a game changer for us.
Right.
As well.
Are you hoping to start that construction this year?
Well, works are. We've started planning. We've started studies. We've started we've identified financing, which we're going through. So as you know, it's something that will take some time, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to at least start the process in 2025.
So infrastructure, very, very key. There are lots of talks, and this has been on for over 2-3 years now, Honourable Commissioner. The idea of the 4th Mainland Bridge, is that part of the 2025 budget?
So we did a lot of work on the 4th Mainland Bridge over the last couple of years. As of last year, the studies had been completed, feasibility studies had been completed. The PPP office had identified preferred bidder. They'd gone through a bidding round, and the preferred bidder was identified. Last year we had a lot of shift in the macros of the country and the state, as as you could see. So, inflation and also exchange rate was, went against us in certain things. So, we've had to look at it again. So we're currently looking at the process of having to ensure that it's a viable project. So we're rerunning some figures and some numbers, but it is something that is still in the plan. But I think we've done a lot of the heavy lifting. Okay. So a lot of the studies, a lot of the plans have all been done. So it's just to ensure that the financing can be packaged properly.
Right. Some have talked about some ambitious things as well. I mean, in the next 20, 30 years, will Lagos be able to have a tube system as part of its transportation network?
Well, I'm not a transport expert. I don't know. What I do know is that I think we have I think it's a high table water table. So I don't know if
that can work.
I'm not sure. But then again, I'm not the resident expert on drainages and digging and so I would be able to answer that.
Okay. So in terms of the first pillar now, you're doing a whole lot in terms of infrastructure for
Correct.
roads, for rails, and all of that. Let's look at just some critical roads that the budget will tackle this year.
Well, we're looking to sort of ramp up and complete the Okwebi-Mende link bridge. There are also quite a lot of other roads which are being constructed across the various divisions or the 5 divisions of Ibile. I mean, just to name a few, the Samuel Ekundayo Toga Road in Badagry.
Okay.
We're looking at the rehabilitation and upgrading of the Lekki Ekpe Express to phase 2.
Right.
Also the Anokpaja bus terminals, the road in Alimosho, the Abaranje road in Alimosho. So there are quite a few.
Yes, and I suspect, Honourable Commissioner, this must be a product of some of the consultative forums that you had last year.
Indeed, yes, they are. And I think one of the things we were very conscious of is the fact that, before these consultative forums come round very quickly. So we need to ensure that we hit the ground running, and we've taken into account some of the feedback we got back from the consultative forums last year, and we've put them into this year to ensure that we try and ramp up and try and get the roads and the projects around the areas, the Ibile areas, to near completion and completion.
Let's talk about the second pillar now, economic diversity. That's a pillar which you're also looking at as well.
Yes, so that pillar, we've allocated close to over 900 billion to the economic sector. Now that encompasses tourism, creative arts, agriculture, transport, and also wealth creation and minerals, employment, energy, waterfront, infrastructure, and commerce. So we've allocated to that area as well. I think, if we just look at the way things have, the trajectory in which the state has been going. So, for instance, I'll use December as an example.
I was just about to ask that.
We had Lagos now is now on the map for what we all call dirty December. So
that's right.
Indeed, now we've even looked at the fact that planning has even started for this December. You need to ensure that we have enough hotel rooms. We need to ensure that we have the right sort of infrastructure to sort of carry and look after the people who would then be coming to Lagos, because indeed Lagos is now a destination. So a lot of thought has been put into that, and we've ensured that we also need to fund economic diversification as well. So that's why.
Area. And have you been able to? Do you have data that will support the kind of funding or perhaps the kind of revenue that can be generated from tourism, especially during December? Do you have data to support that?
Well, there's data that's coming, but we also know that it's. I think this year was probably the year that sort of made everyone realize that yes, it is indeed, Lagos is indeed now a premier destination for December, and people actually plan ahead, book, and come into it. So we do have data. It's for us to now look at that data, extrapolate it, and ensure that we can sort of provide the right sort of services and the infrastructure around that to build up on what we have. So,
right.
So it's work in progress.
And I was thinking about that when you talk about infrastructure, for instance. Are you thinking of a tourist village? Are you thinking of, what's Lagos thinking of? So that it doesn't become boring after a while.
And so we have various tourist sites, and I think just by the mere nature of Lagosians, fun-loving people, I don't think boring will come into play. So I think we're well versed. But we have enough tourist sites. We have also, we have a very very active music industry. So, we feel as though, we just need to ensure that we have nice, we're in a state of, by the water, aquatic splendor, we have beaches, we have it all. So it's just to tap into those potentials and ensure that we can sort of amplify them and create the right sort of services, and also create the right sort of environment for our visitors to come in and enjoy the splendor that Lagos has to offer.
Which is very good. Honourable Okpe George, one thing of key importance in all of this is light, or perhaps power supply, as the case may be. The nightlife of Lagos is comparable to major cities in the world. So what is the government doing? These days we hear of night life, even though it's thriving, but we usually have light is very, very poor in the night. So what's government doing about that? Okay,
so we've also, a huge part of this budget as well also looked at the electrification bill and law, which was recently signed, and we've taken into law. So we've domesticated it. The Lagos State now has the law. So we've ensured that we've actively started moving towards trying to ensure that we can provide lights and electricity for our citizens. So, with the Ministry of Energy is working really hard to ensure that that is being done. The commissions have been set up, so it's work in progress. But we have done the law, we have domesticated the law, and we've also provided adequately for that to be taken into account.
So Lagosians should be expectant.
We should be, and the fact that it's domesticated now, I think it helps. So we're in control of our own destiny now, so to speak.
All right. The third pillar talks about social inclusion. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
What's the provision of the budget in terms of making life equal, so to say, and including everyone, so to say?
Okay, so we've looked at the fact that that encompasses health and education. And so, in health, we've provided over 200 billion, 204.05 billion, I think, to be exact. In education, we've provided over 200 as well. That's 208.376 billion. And I think with education, it'll be good for me to touch on the fact that over 800 classrooms have been built and completed within the state. I think as we speak, we currently have another 282 plus at various levels of completion.
Right.
We've had over 1,590 bed hostels and built and delivered to several boarding schools. And I think the education family has earmarked close to about 400 primary and secondary schools currently for rehabilitation again. So there's a lot of effort being put into that to ensure that education is not left behind. We spoke earlier about the Massey Street Children's Hospital, which is coming up. So I think with health as well, we're continuously pushing the bar and ensuring that we can sort of meet these key pillars for our citizens.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This morning on the program, we're looking at the Lagos State Budget of Sustainability, Impact Strategies, and Expected Outcomes. And of course, if you're wondering who's speaking with me so eloquently this morning, I have the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Honourable Mosopefolu George, and of course he's taking us to the classroom. Getting back to the roads, we did tell you most of the areas we're covering is still looking pretty good. If you're making that journey all the way from Beja, connecting Secretariat, linking up with 7 Up, all the way to Alakbare and Ogudu, connecting the 3rd Milan Bridge is looking pretty good. So far so good, no major worries. We're still tracking that impediment of a broken down tanker that's by Igbuileri on the Lagos Badagry Expressway is receiving attention. By the way, more updates, a fresh one coming in from the Okiodo end. It says movement within the corridor is still looking pretty good. Ile-Epo still looks pretty fine for now. Abule Egba underneath the Jubilee Bridge, movement towards Charity intersection looks appreciably good too. And we can tell you Mobile movement is still okay, connecting Ahmadiyya to Ijaye as well as Meron, all looking pretty good this Thursday morning. Good movement is being experienced as well from Kola as well as areas like Abukan to Alakuko, looking pretty good, and no impediment cited for now if you're driving through that corridor. All right then, I'm sure you are articulating your questions. If you want to also join the conversation, feel free to do so. Honourable Commissioner, let's touch a bit on environmental sustainability. What is the budget planning for the environment this year, especially now that things are pretty so hot out there? What's the thing there from the budget?
Okay, so with our environmental sustainability, I think what we've allocated underscores our commitment to the environment, to its protection and sustainability. We've allocated over 287 billion to that, to environmental protection, for some key projects, which include not limited to construction of various drainage channels and infrastructure across the Ibile divisions.
Right.
We're also looking at being able to sort of start the systems across the places like Alaba, International Market, Koshofe, and Ikorodu.
Okay.
Also, waste to energy is something that's very important, and it's something that we're looking at and ensuring that we can sort of move the needle on that as well.
Right.
And we're not leaving out our public spaces and ensuring that they're clean and they're serene. And so Last Park is doing a lot of work with our recreational spaces and ensuring that we can have those clean and also well maintained. So those are sort of the things we're looking at in terms of our environmental sustainability.
Climate change is a big word across the world right now, Honourable Commissioner. And I know that in the past, we've done COP28, COP29. This year it will be COP20. So in terms of vehicles and the kind of emissions and all those kind of policies that will be driving all of that, what's the government going to be doing in that regard? Okay, so
we are very, very, very mindful of the fact that the environment is key. So even in terms of some of our buses, I know Lamata is now pioneering and looking at how they're moving to some electric buses. Ibile is also looking. Ibile Oil and Gas is also looking at it in terms of alternative fuel sources. So it's something that we are looking at. We're one of the few states that have looked at the possibility of being able to sort of have green financing and a green bond as well. So it's something that we're looking at, and I feel as though if once it's being cracked, Lagos would be the first state and indeed the first subnational to be able to sort of ensure that we can benefit from alternative financing and green financing, and also ensure that we can also start talking about carbon credits as well.
Right.
within the state. So
CNG is very much on the lips of everyone right now. Is the government thinking of putting investment in that regard?
Yeah, so Ibile Oil and Gas is looking at it. Also Lamata has also started, is also looking at some of the options for some of their buses, but Ibile Oil and Gas is actively looking at that as well, yes.
Okay. Yes. All right, so green infrastructure is something that we talk about, the parks and all those green spaces is one. But what role will the private sector play in supporting environmental sustainability with this budget?
Okay, so in everything we know that as a government, whilst we want to be able to provide for our citizens, we can't put everything on our balance sheet. So in everything we do, in most sectors and most spheres, we tend to ensure that we can collaborate with the private sector. I mean, if I give you an example, just to divert a bit from the environment. So even in housing, we're looking at providing over 2,000 units of housing stock within this year.
Okay.
And some of that is also being done with collaboration with the private sector. So we know that as a government, the key is for us to be able to provide an enabling environment and be able to sort of put all the indices there for investors to be able to come and put in their investment, and we ensure that the investment is safe and secure.
Right. All right. So I know you've touched on tourism, but what about agriculture? What roles will it play? So
agriculture is also very key, and I think speaking to agriculture, there are various aspects to that. So there are also parts of agriculture that touch into infrastructure. So if I talk about the food and logistics hub, which is being built, which is also near completion, we're also looking at middle market hubs to ensure that we can get the food closer to our people. And whilst one of the challenges with agriculture within the state is wastage. So you find that they've had a challenge with wastage, with storage. So the food and logistics hub would obviously help us cure that issue, to be able to store and also store our food properly and be able to sort of transport our food to various parts, the middle markets, for them to be able to get closer to the consumers and to our people. Also in terms of agriculture, the agricultural our family has done very well, being able to sort of train a lot of farmers, the Lagos Cares, the agripreneurship programs, programs, you know. So
Right.
there are lots is being done in agriculture to ensure that Lagos State probably has the smallest arable land. So what we've done is, I think last year we had a partnership also with Niger. Niger has the largest arable land, to be able to say, look, you know, we have the markets, you have the largest, to be able to sort of have the sort of partnerships with other states, so we can sort of take the produce whilst, you know, they can grow it. People that have more land to do this for us.
All right, then. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, your side mirror this morning. We're mirroring and looking at the Lagos State budget of sustainability, strategies, impact, and expected outcomes. And if you're wondering who's with me in the studios, I have the Honourable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, and I'm talking about Honourable Mosopefolu George. All right, then. If you want to add your voice to the conversation, feel free to do so, and that's on 08099120777 or 09153877127. Okay, 09153877127. These are the numbers that you can use to connect with us as well on the program this morning. Okay, then. So, Honourable Commissioner, your ministry is very much in charge of this budget, and I'm just looking through now. What mechanisms are you going to be putting in place, you know, to monitor all of this? What will you do to ensure that there's effective implementation of the budget of sustainability?
Okay, so thank you. So we always have, as you said, we monitor and ensure that at any point in time we're meeting all our targets. We constantly have revenue meetings with all the revenue generation MDAs. We also look and ensure that at any point in time, most of the MDAs are reporting back if they've got challenges. So, you know, the budget is a continuous project and process, you know.
Right.
It's not we do it once a year and leave it and come back and do it again the following year. No, we need to ensure that we're very reactive, and we're also ready to we have to be adaptable as well. So if we look at it and say, look, we're having challenges in one area, what do we need to do to ensure that we can sort of ramp that up? And if we're doing very well in one area, we look at it and take the lessons and learnings from that and see how we can sort of replicate that in that area as well. And we also have appraisal processes, you know. We appraise our budget quarterly. We have the media review as well. So at any point in time, we have a snapshot of where we are and how we're performing.
All right. So at every point in time, if you see that you're not doing well in this area or that area, what indicators do you use to really track all of this?
Well, we use, I mean, as I said, we have reviews. So
Okay.
we have quarterly reviews. So at the end of the first quarter, we will be able to have a snapshot and see where we are in terms of our expenditure and our revenue generation, and benchmark that. And we also have run rates. So we can look at it and say to ourselves, look, you know, if we look at the trajectory in the past and we also look at the way we're running, we should anticipate that within a 6-month period, this is where numbers we should hit. Within an 8-month or 12-month period, this is the numbers we should hit. So it's always a continuous process of evaluation, and there's a bit of a science to the method to the madness, so to speak.
All right, then. And the strategies that you use. All right, 08099120777 09153877127. This question here is coming in, says, good morning to the HC. Says, what specific sectors received the most funding and why? Thanks. Boyega is sending that one in from Ikorodu. Okay, so what sectors?
The sector was you know, we was infrastructural development, as I said. So
Okay.
that allocated for over 30% of the budget, you know, and that went to, as I said, maintaining the infrastructure, upgrading it, you know, construction of various infrastructure projects. So, you know, that also looked at housing units, the rail system, you know. So that majority of our budget, over 30%, went into that allocation, that sector.
All right, Boyega, I hope that answers your question. This one says, good morning, Traffic Radio. How will this budget directly impact the lives of everyday Lagosians? Samuel Ajayi is sending that one in.
Okay, so I think it touches on every aspect. So, you know, we ensure that, you know, ease of moving around, transportation is key, health, education for our children, and our healthcare for our citizens, you know. So the budget touches every aspect of life, you know, which obviously will impact every Lagosian. You know, also social protection is key. You know, we know that obviously we're in times that I can get a bit hard, so we ensure that at any point in time we can fend for our people, the Onje Eco, the discount markets, and things that can help alleviate the suffering of our people are all taken into account. So it's a budget that is not just about infrastructure, hard infrastructure, roads and bridges. No, there's also softer sides to it in terms of being able to sort of cater for our people's social protection and also healthcare and education, which is very important.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM 08099120777 09153877127. If you want to ask the Commissioner any question, feel free to do so. As we reflect on this budget of sustainability, we're looking at its impact and the expected outcomes as well. This one says, good morning, Victor and the Honourable Commissioner. Sustainability is a broad concept. What does it mean in the context of this budget? Thanks, Ifeanyi, and send it out to Ifeanyi. I think the Commissioner has spoken extensively about that one as well. But Commissioner, you want to respond to?
Okay, well, sustainability, yes, but to ensure that, when we say sustainability and we call it budget for sustainability, we're looking at the fact that we want to be able to, there's no use starting something and not completing something. So, being able to sort of continuously complete on all the outstanding projects we have and being able to ensure that we can keep taking over. So there's no point, as I said earlier, starting things we cannot finish. So this budget is geared towards ensuring that projects are completed and we continuously make sure that we can fend for our citizens and look after our citizens. So that's what I'll say on that.
All right then, Ifeanyi, I hope that answers your question. More questions are coming in. This one says okay, let me just try and get that out. Okay, this one says, good morning, sir. Please ask our Honourable Commissioner, what are the efforts being made to go into partnerships? Okay, let me get that again. Okay, what are the efforts being made to go into partnerships with farmers associations to bring down high cost of foodstuffs? Oluwaloko. All right, Oluwaloko, thank you so much. It's one of our very ardent listeners. So what has been done in that regard? Because we have increased prices of higher prices of foodstuffs out there.
Okay, so in terms of the prices of foodstuff, one of the things that was done last year obviously was the markets, the discount markets, which we looked at being able to sort of bring food closer to our people at much more reasonable prices. By all accounts, the discount markets were very successful, and I believe it's something that is going to be repeated again this year. But I also know that within the Ministry of Agriculture, they have a very good system, and they have an open door policy where, if there are ways they can look at being able to sort of alleviate and sort of provide access and provide partnerships with private farmers and sectors to be able to sort of make the food readily available and at better prices. I also spoke about the logistics hub, and the middle markets. I think those would be game changers because, as I said, a lot of our issues have been with around wastage and logistics and storage. So I think with that coming online, that would help and be able to sort of reduce the cost of food and being able to get it to our people better and quicker.
All right, Comrade Daniel, I would have loved you to put a call across. You sort of sending this message. You said, good morning, Victor, and your guest, the Honourable Commissioner. Kindly ask the Commissioner, where is the Purple Rail project expected to run through, and is there any collaboration with other neighboring states in the projects? From Comrade Daniel or Nobume. Comrade Daniel, the Purple Line is from Redeem.
Yes.
It's going to run all the way from Redeem to Ojo. Yes.
Correct. So yes, it is. That's where it's running from. But, I think with the rail lines, it's important for me to state that, we're very proud of the fact that, we have the blue line running, we have the red line running, the green line is coming on stream now, and it's has a subnational, you don't find many subnationals undertaking rail projects. Usually they're done by nationals. So, and they're very intensive, and the fact that we the blue line goes over water as well is something that is very 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 impressive and also very very tasking to do. So with the green line, majority of it I believe would be on ground level, so that is good. So we're very 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 optimistic that we can get that moving very quickly, and I think you'd find that overall we're integrating our transportation system to ensure that you can go from the trains to the buses to the last miles. Also water transport is very, very important, and, it's something that we're also looking at being able to ramp up over the next couple of months with various initiatives.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. What's your name?
Yes. My name is B. I'm calling from Tulare.
All right, B, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very good.
All right. You want to ask the commissioner a question?
Yes. Please, sir, I want to find out this budget. What does he have for teachers' welfare?
Okay. Teachers' welfare.
Is there a provision to improve, the welfare of teachers and school infrastructure in Lagos State?
Beautiful. Thank you so much, B.
Okay, thank you, B. I spoke earlier about the intervention in the education sector. I spoke about some numbers of classrooms that were built, over 800 classrooms built, currently another 282 at various stages of completion. Also, it's important to sort of state that, yes, in terms of welfare, it's something that we are looking at. Also, being able to sort of ensure that teachers are being able to sort of get to their schools a bit more seamless and a bit more easily. Obviously,
Right.
transportation links, and also the idea of being able to sort of put up maybe teacher accommodations within areas of the school they're looking at.
Okay.
And hiring the right sort of qualified personnel is also very key. But I think we found that maybe the biggest challenge has been being able to sort of transportation and being able to sort of get to the schools on time. So we're ensuring that we can sort of locate teachers close to where they work, which
Okay.
we believe would help in
All
terms
right.
of being able to alleviate the welfare.
We have more messages coming in here for you, and we have very little time. Let's see. This one says, Mr. Commissioner, sir, how is the state addressing the housing deficit through this budget? Ezekiel from Ikotun is send that one in.
Okay, so
I think you touched on that
yes,
earlier.
we touched on it earlier, but I'm happy to just sort of briefly highlight again that, with the housing, we spoke about the fact that we're looking at over 2,000 units of housing stock being put into place, and that goes across all the states,
2,000 units.
Over 2,000 units, we have some in Nigeria and Badagry, I think over 400, over 450 units in phase 2 and 3 in Egon,
Okay. All right,
so
more
there are
questions?
various areas, yes.
This one says, are there targeted initiatives to support small and medium enterprises? Okay, you didn't put your name, but thank you so much.
Yes. So ISMEs are key and very important. So we were working obviously with various MDAs, Ministry of Commerce, also Wealth Creation, and also LSCTF are also looking at being able to sort of support our SMEs. So at any point in time, I think those three agencies and ministries I mentioned are key,
All
and
right.
will continuously be able to sort of help our.
Okay, then let me just sneak this one in. This one says, good morning, sir. How does the budget address youth unemployment and skill development? Mr. Arabambi is sending that one in. Thank you so much, Arabambi. Yeah, so youth employment?
Okay, so youth employment is key. We have a very, very active Ministry of Youth, which we always joke within the council that it's being manned by youth as well, the commissioner. So, and he's someone who's very, very active and very, very vibrant in terms of being able to ensure that our youth are not left behind. So there are various programs which are being run. We also have programs that are run also by civic engagement, and we also have programs that are run by WAPA, Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. So we find that all this dovetail into being able to sort of provide for our citizens, not just youth, but the elderly, but the widows, the women, in all sorts of ramifications. So they all come together at the end of the day. And that's why, we talked about social protection, and we said that, we've also invested heavily in social protection in this budget as well.
All right. So even as we round this off right now, Honourable Commissioner, what is the expectation of government from the citizens as it relates to this budget?
Well, I'd say that I always ask that citizens be obviously you hold us accountable, but be patient with us. You also know that as a government, one of the things that always come to my mind is when Mr. Governor says, even if you don't like our face, you cannot deny what we do or like what we do. So I think it's for us to be able to say that we're continuously trying to ensure that we can provide for our citizens. We're a listening government. We take into account account what is required in various areas, which is why the consultative forums are very important. We encourage our people to continuously help by paying their taxes, and also the rule of law and obeying laws, and also ensuring that we live in a city that obviously not is environmentally friendly, is clean, and just making sure we obey the rule of law. And we're also a very transparent and accountable government. So we know that at any point in time, our citizens hold us to account, and we can
so
give
we can always
account
ask you questions, right?
Anytime and anytime.
All right, then we'll look for time to get you back into the studios.
Please.
And when we see anything out there, we'll be able to throw those questions back to you. Honourable Commissioner, nice having you in the building this morning.
Thank you. It was very nice seeing you again.
Okay, then. So I've been speaking with the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Honourable Mosopefolu George, and this morning we'll be able to reflect through the Budget of Sustainability 2025, looking at impact strategies and expected outcomes. We have to go. Mike James has produced the program this morning. Maximum thanks to him. Mr. Femi Orojimi, also in the building. He's the Director of Budget for the Ministry. And Busola Aroloye has been working tirelessly behind the scene for the program to come on stream this morning. We say a big thank you to you. In the studios as well, we say a big thank you to Benita Olame and Faith Ojokon. Our social media team, Okpayemi Shodunke, and of course, Afe John. I want to appreciate our executive producer, Tayo Akonle. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a great day. Bye.
The infrastructure that will be delivered belongs to all of